Welcome back, dear students, for another lesson in Unit 6, Lesson 2. I'm going to talk about question tag. First of all, we have the use. Question tag are short questions that we put on the end of the sentence, so we can say or come at the end of the sentence. When the sentence is affirmative, we use negative tag, and when the sentence is negative, we use affirmative tag. So if the sentence is affirmative, then the question tag will be negative, and if the sentence is negative, the question tag will be affirmative. So they are vice versa, or we can say they are opposite each other. First of all, we have the form of verb to be. If there is verb to be in the statement, the question should have verb to be too. So let's see how. For example, we have this picture. It says, we are in grade 11, aren't we? We are in grade 11 is the statement, aren't we is the question tag. And we are in grade 11 is affirmative, or you can say positive, and aren't we should be negative. So as you see in the question tag, aren't we, which is negative. Why? Because the statement is positive, and because we have verb to be, which is I in the sentence, so the question tag also should take verb to be. So also we can rewrite the verb to be at the beginning after the comma and make it negative, and after that we rewrite the subject of the sentence too. So it became, we are in grade 11, aren't we? Let's see in another example. Jack is clever. Jack is clever, isn't he? Jack is clever, isn't he? As you see, we have Jack is clever, which is the sentence, and it's positive. And after the sentence, we have comma. It should be comma. And we have question tag, which is isn't he. Why we said isn't? Because the sentence or the statement is positive. So the question tag should be negative. Jack is clever, isn't he? And also, don't forget about putting the question mark at the end of the statement. After that, we have another example. She wasn't at market yesterday. She wasn't at market yesterday. Was she? As you see, that this sentence is negative. She wasn't at the market yesterday. But the question tag should be positive, because we said if the sentence is negative, the question tag should be positive. So it became was she. So we just simply remove the not, or you can say remove the not in wasn't, and became was, and we rewrite the subject of the sentence, which is she. So it became, she wasn't at the market yesterday, was she. The second type, we have past and present. If the statement was past, we need to use did in the question tag. So be careful. If the statement was past, we need to use did in the question. But if it is present, we need to use do or does in the question tag according to the subject of the statement. So it is very easy. If we have a sentence which is past, we have to use did in the question tag. If it is present, I mean without verb to be, we have to use do or does according to the subject of the sentence. For example, Awara likes drama. Awara likes drama, doesn't he? As you see, we don't have verb to be here, so we just have verb which is likes. So this sentence is present simple. So we said we have to use do and doesn't. So because we have a name which is Awara, or we can say he, so we have to use does. And because the statement is positive, so the question tag should be negative. So we said doesn't he. Awara likes drama, doesn't he? Another example. You buy the house. You buy the house, don't you? Again, we have the positive statement, which is you buy the house, and the question tag is negative, which is don't you. Why we use do? Because we have the subject of you, and we make it negative because the sentence is positive. So it became, why you buy the house, don't you? Another example that we have, Sarah cleaned the room, didn't she? Sarah cleaned the room, didn't she? Why we use didn't? Because we have clean, which is in past simple, which is in past form, or we can say past simple. And why we say didn't? Because the statement is positive. Sarah cleaned the room. As you see, cleaned is positive, and it became what? Didn't she? Didn't she? Another example that we have, he wrote a letter. He wrote a letter, didn't he? Again, we have wrote, which is the past of write. So because it is past simple, so we have to use did. And because the statement is positive, so we have to make it negative and became didn't, and we rewrite the subject of the sentence, which is he, and became didn't he. You didn't see me. You didn't see me, did you? Again, we have didn't here, which is past simple in negative form, and because the statement is negative, so the question tag should be positive. So we will just simply remove not to didn't and became you didn't see me, did you? The third type that we have is modal verbs. Modal verbs. If there is modal verbs, we use modal verbs as well in question tag. Okay, so if there is modal verbs in the statement, we can use them again in question tag. The modal verbs are can, could, will, would, shall, should, might, must, or ought to. So whenever there is those modal verbs in the statement, so we can use it in the question tag too. For example, we must help them, mustn't we? As you see, we have must, so we just simply using in the question tag. We must help them, mustn't we? You wouldn't do that, would you? You wouldn't do that, would you? So you as you see, we have wouldn't, and because it is negative, wouldn't, so we will just simply make positive in the question tag. So we become would you? You wouldn't do that, would you? Or Layla will buy the dress, won't she? Layla will buy the dress, won't she? So you have to know that will, if you change will to negative, it became won't. Layla will buy the dress, won't she? Karwan can't go himself, can't he? Karwan can go himself, can he? So as you see, we have can't here, which is negative, and we just simply remove not and became can, and we rewrite the subject of the sentence, which is Karwan, and became he. So number 4, we have imperative. In imperative sentences, the question tag will be like that. Okay, pass the salt, won't you? As you see, we don't have a verb to be, and there is no past simple or present simple, and there is no modal verbs. So pass the salt is, we can say, is an order. If the sentence is an order or a request, so we have to use like that. Pass the salt, won't you? So we can use won't. Or don't smoke, will you? Don't smoke. As you see, pass the salt or don't smoke, it's an order, so it's called imperative. So in imperative, we can use won't or will according to the sentence of the question tag. As you see, pass the salt is positive, that's why I use won't, and don't smoke is negative, that's why I use will. If there is let's in the statement, the question tag will be like that. If there is let's in the statement, it will be like that. Let's have a drink, shall we? So you have to remember that whenever we have let's in question tag, we have to say shall we. We have to say shall we. So don't forget about that. Let's have a drink, shall we? We have the others, number 5. When we have never, no, or seldom, the question tag will be affirmative. We can say positive. For example, no sugar was allowed, was it? No sugar was allowed, was it? So whenever we have never, no, and seldom, the question tag will be affirmative. No sugar was allowed. As you see, we have no at the beginning, and the sentence will become was it. Why? Because we have verb to be was, and sugar is a thing, so we can say it was it. Another example, we don't use the terms like I hope, I think, or I suppose in the question tags. Okay, so you have to remember that, or you have to memorize that. We cannot use the terms like I hope, I think, or I suppose in question tags. I think my mom returned home, didn't she? So we cannot say didn't I think. So we cannot say that. So we just look at the sentence. So returned is past simple. So we will just say didn't because it's positive and became didn't she. If we have this or that, we use it as a pronoun for question tag. Whenever we have this or that, we use it as a pronoun for question tag. If we have this or those, again, we use they as a pronoun for question tag. And if we have there, we use there as a pronoun for question tag. So you have to remember that those three things, whenever there is this or that, we have to use it in question tag. When there is these or those, we have to use they in question tag. And if there is there, we can use there as a pronoun for question tag. For example, that isn't been, is it? That isn't been, is it? As you see, we have that, so we cannot say is that. So we will simply just say is it, okay? Because there is that, and because it is positive, negative, isn't. So we will just make it positive, and it became is it. These weren't yours, were they? These weren't yours, were they? As you see, we have these, and this became they. So it became these weren't yours, were they? Because weren't is negative, so we can simply make positive by removing the not. There won't be any trouble, will there? There won't be any trouble, will there? As you see, we have there, and we simply rewrite there because as a rule, there won't be any trouble, will there? So let's see and remember what we studied today. Question tag is frequently used in spoken English when you want someone to agree or disagree. This is the use of question tag. You have got a car, haven't you? Or they played football on Sundays, didn't they? Open the window, will you? These are question tags, and according to the rules that we study, because the first one, for example, is we have and became haven't. Played is past simple and became didn't. Open the window is an imperative one, so we can say open the window, it became will you. This is all about question tag today. I hope you understand very well. Thank you for your listening.